Haai. In honor of the Oscars, we decided to bring in our own Oscar winner. That's right. And I know a lot of people already starting in the comments. He's only here because he's your cousin, he's a Holmes. And you're absolutely right. That's how we managed to get him there. So Tristan, welcome to the show. Welcome to life.
Thank you. Feel awakened. Very fortunate.
Very fortunate.
Do you feel like you've made it?
I feel like, I have made it here tonight at the end of my day, but that's about the extent of making it, I think. Yeah.
And from 1 to South African, I'm blessed. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like, what's the scale?
1 to blessed.
1 to blessed. I'm feeling.
You never met that sort of person that just says they like eat an apple, I'm blessed.
I feel alive, I feel functional, I feel breathing, my mind is working, and I'm sort of sitting on a 7 on the stress level. So good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Obviously we've got Chloë Dog in the corner over there. Woo! We're still waiting for the soundboard where we'll have these sort of effects. So Tristan, if you can just imagine them.
I'm imagining hard.
I want one when I'm barking.
Okay.
Oh, for Chloë Dog.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. And for those of you listening, please also imagine and come have a little play with us and refrain from playing with yourself whilst
yes.
Or who am I to judge? We've got our first audience member today all the way from Krugersdorp. And he was very lucky. He won the lucky raffle. A bit like the Willy Wonka sort of theme. There he is.
Uncle.
If you hear laughs coming from the corner of the room.
It's our uncle.
He promised not to make a noise, and he's making a noise.
He said, I won't laugh. And we haven't even started.
Anyway, well, Chloë, how are you doing? Often people complain. They say, I'm not good enough to you.
No.
Those are
Who says that?
Your fellow suitors, of which there are many.
Wow.
Leave Sam and come with me. It's not good to you. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Do people say that to you? No.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sam says that he deletes the DMs. So I never see them, apparently.
Hardline.
Yeah.
Censorship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean, come on.
I could use the confidence boost, you know?
We all could.
I don't know. But
Chloe's written in all bold in our show notes, Icebreaker.
No way. So
I'm more of a fan of freezing things over.
Yes,
I don't like
ambush
breaking.
tactics.
Yeah, I don't like break. Why are we breaking the ice? Oh God, another polar bear. We've got enough to worry about.
So what's your strategy? What's the way in?
Well, no, I think people like it when you share an anecdote. This is
Yes.
how I met Tristan.
Yeah.
Like many meetings, it was forced upon me at a young age.
Oh, was it?
Yes, and I don't know if you remember do you remember the first time? Well, that I remembered something. Probably not.
No, I'm not in your memory.
Yeah, you don't have access to it. But it was at your mom's flat in Joburg.
Yeah.
And you must have been 30 at the time. You challenged me to a game of chess.
No way.
And I was about 4 or 5.
Wow.
And I recall beating you.
You won.
Quite handsomely at that.
I am so
way.
determined when it comes to chess. Played a game. I remember playing all night, pretty much till dawn. And at the end it was 24-0. I'd lost. And it didn't take away my love for the game. Maybe it did a little. But I'm very bad at chess.
I mean, the numbers back that up.
You were fine. It makes me wonder because when I used to learn to play with Grandpa, I always won. So I think there might have been some manipulation
it's genetic.
Manipulation, alcoholism, it all comes together in a perfect storm.
Home sandwich.
Is that why I find it hard to believe that you could play chess when you were 5?
I mean,
I think there
was
might
I
be-
10? Was I? But it was a good time. I remember being in great awe of you as a younger child because you were the first grandchild of about 60 spawn that the Holmes family
The
had.
Holmes family is a big family.
Big family. Big chaotic family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chloë, you don't come from that big a family, do you?
No, pretty small. Yeah, the Holmes family, we've got like an infinite amount of guests that we can have on the podcast.
Yeah,
eh?
it's
Like
true.
we've only just scratched the
That
surface.
sounds like a really rough podcast. I just want to say.
Impossible to get a word in.
The mental health issues on display. It'd be quite something.
Well, Shan told me the other day, this is my aunt, that she has been deplatformed for her...
Oh, no way.
For her work on ivermectin.
Yeah.
Which is not really work, it's just re-sharing articles.
Yeah, resharing Google,
That is
Google
hard
anecdotes.
work.
I deplatformed her once when we locked her in the bathroom.
Okay, bring it back. Now a word from our sponsors. Well, if you've been locked in a bathroom, make sure you're locked in the bathroom with a steri stumpy.
That's it.
Oh,
Nice.
the sweet.
These are delicious. I haven't had one of these since I was a kid.
Yeah, they come from the brown cows, but that's neither here nor there, the chalky flavor. Anyway, I've realized
yeah,
we usually
right.
do this. We dance around the guest. We, try dress him up and dress him down. If you are watching the podcast, you will notice that the Holmes family, they got good looks in spades. Yeah, no, not really.
Yeah,
anyway,
thanks.
no, I was speaking about myself.
I
think
figured.
you're a very attractive individual.
Thank you.
But Chloe,
I think you're very attractive too.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's hard to take compliments, eh?
It is.
Yeah.
Is that a male thing or a human thing?
It's a human thing.
Okay.
Maybe it's a guy thing.
Mate, Chloe, you look wonderful tonight.
You look great.
You see, she did it. She
You
took
totally, yeah, it's a guy thing.
Someone, if you were like, Sam, you look good, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I got a tiny dick. What you want?
No, if you want to disarm something, you want to take somebody out, just craft a beautifully sensitive observation with a slight amount of positive, just enough truth to rose tint, and people will come undone. They will literally, some people will just crumble.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
Especially if it's really well observed.
That is true.
Do you feel like guys maybe take compliment on their achievements better or no?
That's interesting. I think
Because I feel like I'm
yes.
complimented on my, not being funny, but I think women
Yeah.
in general are complimented on their looks quite frequently.
Yeah.
So you'd like take it, whereas maybe guys aren't.
Yeah, definitely. And if you said to a guy like you're a beautiful, kind, sensitive person who, is gentle and a swathe of understanding, but you did it in a way that didn't sound like the way I said it, but it was actually well observed,
Yes.
that person would be very challenged. You're subtly challenging all those notions of toughness. It'd be intense. But if you're like, you're great at great job, great career, great thing, that's very easy because that's almost the expectation,
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah.
We're really getting deep. real
Deep, so
quick.
quick,
Yeah.
so quick.
So quickly.
Yeah, so quickly deep.
But
Yeah.
I feel we haven't even introduced who you are really.
Yes.
We know you're bad at chess.
Yes.
I
Sam's
can't take a
cousin.
compliment, those sort of things. The big things about make you who you are.
Yes.
The Oscar mention was complete. It wasn't an Oscar Pistorius joke. I've
No, but it was a student Oscar.
yes.
And I feel
No,
often South
an
Africa.
Oscar.
I know. This
No, it's
is
an
only
Oscar.
South
Still an
Africans say.
Oscar, come
You know
on.
that only South Africans say this because everywhere else you go, I want a Student Academy Award. They're like, oh, that's so sweet.
Did they give you a
here,
scholarship?
but here they go. No, here they go. Oh, Oscar's an Oscar. It really is the only. It's beautiful. It's
It
great.
is.
But yes, I want a Student Academy Award.
An Oscar.
A
Yes.
long time away. A student Oscar. Long time ago.
An Oscar.
Student
Long time ago.
Oscar Pistorius. It's all the same to us. And
Totally. Legless. Because I'm telling you, in the States, I honestly thought when I went to LA for the first time that I would go up to people, I'd be like, I won the Student Academy Award. And they'd be like, come on in. And literally, that did not happen. It didn't.
No one cares.
No one, nobody gives a damn.
Well,
Yeah.
I always
Frankly,
think
my dear.
Frankly.
people don't even really care about the Oscars
Not anymore.
I know
Yeah,
anymore.
it used to be such a big thing.
Yeah. Will Smith just
Yes.
puss-clapped it all into oblivion. I mean, it was a great club, though.
he has to watch the podcast to borrow some language. No,
No, it was even the way he almost looked at his hand.
I know.
Before he did it.
You're
He
gonna
looked
learn.
And then he went, "Gah." It was
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And then I saw something online was like the only thing worse than Will Smith hitting Chris Rock in the face is having to hear everyone's opinion on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I read that I was like, oh, we kind of just did that.
Yeah, we did. It's
You
so
meet
true.
up with friends you haven't seen post Oscars, and they go,
Yeah.
"So, what are your thoughts on the slap?"
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
How did
very
you,
serious.
How did you feel? And I feel like that's
Yeah.
also quite a big decide on how
Yeah.
you feel about your friends in the future.
Yeah.
You
True.
know,
I've seen some
Decide you
articles
take.
calling it a vicious attack, which is also a sign of our times because
Yeah.
out of all the attacks in the world, I would say that's probably not the most
I know.
vicious I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bombs dropped at the Oscar.
Big time.
No, in Ukraine.
But honestly, it needed something. It's interesting that it's using WWE tactics to get audiences because,
Yeah.
it was very uninteresting celebration of film.
It was.
Yeah.
Did you like SmackDown versus Raw, or were you more of the sort of ladder match?
I was from the
custody for-
Undertaker generation.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like slow, lots of story,
Okay.
classic wrestling moves, a lot of lead up. It's like
Yes.
wrestling's all foreplay because once
That's
they
true.
actually
Okay.
start slapping around, the wrestling itself is obviously fake and very like anticlimactic. Yeah. I was going to say anticlimactic,
Yeah.
but yeah, it depends on how you view foreplay and the culmination of it. But it's something that.
Yeah, Chloe, how do you... just hold on. We're going to have a pause there. How do you view the culmination of foreplay, Chloe? I'm sorry. I'm going to let Tristan get away with a statement.
I think maybe anticlimactic sometimes.
yeah.
so-
No need to bring our sex life into this, Chloe.
This is
We're not
something
dating.
tricky to be in the center of.
Well, I've heard that before from someone looking fairly similar to you. We have a type.
Oh, it's so true.
It is. Where were we? Oh, custody matches and WWE.
Yes.
I wanted to dive into early life.
Okay.
Early life.
What would you like to talk about, Chloe? Let's have it.
Tadpoles.
Yeah.
Well, maybe when you were a tadpole.
Yes.
Where were you
Love
born,
tadpole.
Tristan?
I was born in the Florence Nightingale Hospital in Hillbrow, Johannesburg.
Wow.
It doesn't exist anymore. It's a thing about being my age, I realize, is that the country that I grew up in is gone. Well, not the country. The country's here. The country's grown and changed.
Yeah.
The places, the actual, like
Yes.
this park or this hospital or this road, the whole city of Johannesburg has undergone this like rapid transformation. It's very interesting. I sometimes go back when I'm back. I haven't been back in years now, but I sometimes go back. And when I do, I would go to like the old apartment where Granny lived. And I grew up for many years living there. I'd go there just to see. I'd knock on the door and speak to the people that are there. And just see the transformation. But really, like, it's actually staggering. Like, a lot of people in the rest of the world, you know, they're multi-generational families that all have these anchor points and spaces that they can go to and return to and reflect their culture from. And it's just so interesting. Now, South Africa's undergone such sweeping change that I go back and I find something so transformed that I don't even know if I can really relate to it in the same way anymore. It's interesting.
Have you read any of Ivan Vladislavich's work? Because he's got Portrait of Keys, and that's very much kind of what you've shared there, and that was even in the 90s. But wow, Chloe, were you expecting such a profound answer?
But I really enjoyed that.
I feel like sometimes we do like very baseless, like basic humor, and I've been trying to get away from it because I'm the number one guilty.
So what's the complex humor like?
That's true.
I mean, complex humor.
You know, the play on words here or there.
Puns.
Exactly.
Puns, similes. Homonyms.
You just sound like an English teacher.
Yeah, but isn't that it? But play on words.
A bit of this, bit of that. I'm also a fan of the element of surprise, Chloe.
Ooh.
Yeah, you see that? I mean, it's just, it's absolutely shocking.
Okay.
Speaking of shocking things, you were a presenter on KTV.
I was.
If you were to explain to a blind person what KTV was, how would you go about that?
I'd say it's like a caffeinated child dance, selling television shows and toys to apprehended children on a Saturday morning.
Wow.
Sounds like an episode of Black Mirror.
It is a little bit. No, but seriously, I used to feel pretty Black Mirror shooting it. I used to have a sore jaw. I used to have like real...
And this was pre-Hollywood?
No, this was when I was a child. This is when I was 13, 14.
Oh, wow.
I had like really bad acne. I was
Yeah.
struggling to relate to people. And then you have to undergo this like very cheery sort of like television thing that you do.
Wait, how young were you when you started?
I started when I was 12.
No.
And then I got fired when I was 18.
He's no longer a child.
You were a presenter for from the age of 12 to 18.
Yes. Yeah, I was a presenter for years.
Is that legal?
I'm one of the few presenters that no
6
one
years, in
remembers.
fact. Oh, really?
No, it's really funny because everyone remembers the other presenters.
Oh, no.
I'm one of the few ones. And then because it's all pre-YouTube, pre-digital, I don't have any copies of it.
I
So it's
tried
almost
looking
like
for
it.
it.
Never existed.
That's a terrifying
I tell
thought.
people, and the only people that have kind of like copies of like little shreds of the KTV evidence is my mom.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
you've got
Oh my
like a
God.
fake Oscar.
Yes.
And no real show reel.
It's like the man who wasn't there. It's bizarre. But what I do have is the trauma.
Okay, well,
That stuck with
that will stay with you forever.
Yeah, that I've carried well into
And
my
be
adulthood.
passed on to your loved ones for
Oh,
generations to come.
Genetically, it happens. No, seriously. But it's through the mitochondrial DNA that trauma is transferred. It's through the maternal genes.
Okay.
So I don't know. Actually, I know nothing about genes. I think I just read that once.
Oh, I was saying
figured
you
that.
sounded a lot like our Aunt Shan until you
Yes.
said you knew nothing. And then
Yes.
that's a little one for the Holmes family watching.
Wait.
All 110 of you. Shan, if you are also watching, I love you
Yeah.
big time.
I mean, I'm being deplatformed if she caught that beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Chloe, you were fixing up to say something
No,
over
it was, what was traumatic about it?
You know, it's hard to grow up in front of. I think growing up is hard enough.
Yeah.
And then, but doing it in the sort of cheery, split personality. And also, I think when you're 13, 14, you're just trying to relate to people. And honestly, you're just trying to get a girlfriend.
Yes.
And, you know, it's being in that framework is hard. It's
Yeah.
very hard. And I never really... I also think for some personalities, getting in front of TV and being that performer is really helpful, beneficial. They come alive. But for me, I found it very traumatic because I just could never get used to live television.
Yeah.
I'm still... It's like the live to tape shows were fine because you mess up. And I mean, even those were hard, you know. I mean, interviewing some people was really tough, but the live shows, the amount of times I bombed. Like literally the camera would go, and they have a director in the epi's 3, 2, 1, and I would blank. And I would look at the screen for ages, and then eventually I'd hear the director, say the fucking line! And then I'd just be sitting there, and I'd just smile, and then I'd see the transition, they have a screen over there, and I'd just see the transition away. And then there'd be this long, awkward silence, when I go out, take my earpiece, and the director's standing across. It was horrible. They were just so traumatic, so shattering, those moments. And they kept on happening, I would blank often.
If you can't relate to the story, imagine doing a Afrikaans mondeling in front of...
What's a mondeling?
An oral. Oh, God.
An oral. Afrikaans oral.
Yeah, you missed patches of school as well. We won't get into that.
It's true.
Fairly apparent, I think.
It's true. I think the gaps are showing.
But then you did go to school and you went to AFTA, and that's how you got into filmmaking. And before we get into you getting into filmmaking...
Didn't you also go to AFTA?
I'm a product of AFTA.
Yes.
And so that's why I wanted to say, take the opportunity, check out AFTA. Consider
AFTA.
If we want to keep the fun in this trust fund baby going,
yes,
follow the links.
Dreams.
This is not an easy lifestyle to maintain.
But seriously, it was very helpful. AFTA is actually really good.
I'm glad you're bringing us back to a serious point. My dad would watch this.
Yes.
Piece of shit.
No, seriously. It taught me how to think. Because I honestly had no idea what I was going to do when I came into AFTA. I remember really just doing it because I was doing something. And then I kind of left knowing what I was going to do, and that's pretty huge if you think about it.
No, it is, and I think it is a fantastic. And I also am currently at AFTA.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Come on,
haven't you been there for a while, trying to do the masters?
Haven't you been doing your masters for years?
Several years.
The masters kind of started as like a Tinder bio, and it hasn't really materialized to anything.
Yeah, it's been years, but you're going to start soon.
I'm going to start soon. I don't feel like I don't feel bad because I haven't been trying to do it. It's a classic cool kid complex.
Yeah.
If you don't try, it doesn't count. So
okay.
Yeah, I got to do some work after this.
Yeah, you got to crack a book there. Yeah.
Big shoes to fill.
But this is where you write your Oscar student Oscar.
Oscar
I will
film.
honor your dreams.
Yes.
And your requests.
Yes.
And tell us a bit about that process, because I think people are, and you've mentioned it a few times when we've chatted about how integral process is.
Yes.
And what was that process like? Because I also am fascinated. Where did people get there? Or was it years of work? Was it a flash in the pan?
Yeah. So after about 8 months of procrastinating, I was sitting in the drama workshop, relaxing, chatting with other students. And Barter walked in. And he said...
Barter, for context, the co-founder.
He's the co-founder.
Yes.
And he said, if you don't all hand in your scripts tomorrow at 9 a.m., you're all failing. And then he left. And we laughed, and then we realized it wasn't a joke. And then we said our goodbyes. And then I went back and I opened Final Draft and looked at the blank page, because it literally was blank. I had not cracked a single word. And I wrote the whole thing then.
You wrote the whole thing in a day.
Overnight, but it was crap. But then we work it and work
Develop
it, and
it,
not alone, with everybody. The thing about film school is you don't, you have a lot of help, and you have a lot of talking with your fellow students, and so and then, but it was good, and then it was good to have that thing to work off. Instead of a blank page, because which is impossible to work off. Yeah. But then we actually hadn't figured out what the story was about until the final cut, actually. And one of the core elements of the movie actually came off comment. We were showing the film to Barter, and the lady, there was a coffee lady there, or a cleaning lady, I'm not sure. And she was like, oh, wait, is this dad like this to this woman? I didn't know. And then we were like, oh, whoa, that's hardcore.
Profound.
And then we put it in voiceover.
Wow.
So that's all like, that's actually not even our idea. That's like the lady that just happened to be passing, cleaning there, that watched it and kind of made the film what it was.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I saw on a TV program the other day, a guy had his, what's it called when you have tattoos on your knuckles?
Yeah.
Knuckle tattoos.
Yeah. That's a very, very good name for that.
Well, keep with us for blindingly clear
more
observation.
breakthroughs.
So anyway, this guy's got these knuckle tattoos, right? And it says self-made on them. And I was like, well, even that wasn't self-made. And that's an interesting sort of 21st century sentiment. Like, I've dragged myself out from this, but we're all very community-based.
Yeah, we helped along the way. Definitely, there's no. I mean, maybe there's a rare few bootstrap people. The bootstrap is just a myth that I think people tell young people to get them to work harder.
Yeah, I worked every day of my life, no days off.
Most
Sunday
most
you
of it's
probably
bullshit.
slept quite a lot.
Yeah, most of it's bullshit. It's an uphill battle, and generally, I think we're all very privileged and helped and aided. Not only by our positions that we're born into, but by the serendipitous kind of accidents that happen in our lives, the people that we meet, the mistakes that we make. We want to live these perfect lives, but in many ways, it's the traumas and the errors and the kind of edges that we reach towards that end up defining us in hindsight. And that's the beautiful thing. And those are also in a weird way privileges. It's just hard to measure the unpleasant in that way. This has got deep fast.
It's usually what happens.
Yeah.
We always start dick joke here, dick joke, ha ha ha, and then people. And I think that's what's nice, and that's what we're trying to get at with KETS. Like when we do KETS and Chloë, we have quite a lot of fun. We do current events. I think it's much better to sort of like get a portrait of a human in these interviews, and people take what they want and they'll leave what they don't. So
And according to our stats, most people don't listen past 14 minutes.
Yeah,
so,
most people fall asleep to your podcast, right?
Maybe they don't even make it to this part.
Yeah.
the Insomniac Society subscribe to.
I put it on 50. I put things on like 15-minute timer, and then I know I'm out by 5 minutes.
Oh, that's quite cool. I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
I don't sleep well.
I actually
you
do that
don't-
with Spotify.
Yeah.
I just put my sleep timer on.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
very
you guys
nice.
should sleep together.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Perfect.
I'll take over the Costa Rican wedding. Everyone's a winner.
I think you
Yeah.
guys could actually kind of switch places.
Oh, what?
You do look fairly similar.
I know how to work that program, GarageBand.
No, you don't. Hey, Tristan, people pay for these secrets. People pay for these. So, okay, so you then, make this, or you win this award.
Yeah.
Was it a kind of moment? Because, I mean, we still attach such value to awards, and even back then, even more so. So you kind of become the sort of rock star?
No.
Okay.
A straw man.
Okay.
It's like a better description. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel that's after years of introspection.
Yeah. No, sorrowful introspection. No, because awards are hot air.
Yes.
And if you could, but when you're young like that, I think it's real, and then it inflates your ego massively. I mean, jeez, my ego is stratospheric. It's still borderline manageable, but it's after much self-therapy. But back then,
How big is my ego? I did self-therapy.
None of that. Exactly. It's very.
I don't need
astute.
a psychologist.
Yeah.
They don't know.
So
they don't know me.
So it's a thing of you don't have any of the real skills. You haven't done any of the kind of like hard and fast genuine failure that I think you need to arrive at anything of artistic value, and so you kind of like hot air around. And I think I did that for many years. In my whole 20s definitely, and probably some of my 30s as well.
Yeah.
It's just that you because you have this thing that says that you've done something, but if you really break down what is that thing, it's a TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like nobody goes around Survivor going like I came 5th in Survivor. Like this is who I am.
I mean, some people do,
what I mean?
unfortunately.
This is what I do. Oh, bad Brad. But I think he won.
No,
And that was Big
wasn't.
Brother. Yeah, Big Brother. Didn't he do
I
a
was thinking
song?
of
He did a
Rupert.
track. It was I used to be a bouncer at the White Horse, drink cokes, bounce oaks, never go anywhere without my buffaloes. And bomber jacket. I mean, the chorus was "Chicks dig him lank."
We have to
This is a
find
real
it.
song. Yeah. I mean, I might have just made that up. I hope not.
Well,
I think it's
Brad
a real
walked
song.
so Jack Sparrow could fly.
Yeah. So there is him. Bad Brad thought,
His
he's the
name was
guy.
Bad Brad.
His name is Bad Brad. Yeah.
What would your rap name be? That's an odd name.
Yeah.
Next to search.
My friends used to call me like Mr. Twist, but I don't think that's a particularly good rap name.
That sounds like something from like the 90s.
It does. It sounds like
I think it probably
hair,
is from the 90s.
Yeah, bleached
Or
hair,
like a
baggy
Wiggles
t-shirt.
character.
Wiggles. Wiggles is a good one.
Yeah,
Wiggles.
Chloe, what would your rap name be?
Clo Dog, obviously.
Oh, Chloe Dog.
Woof, woof.
That makes so sense. Yeah, that was good. And yours?
I played around a lot with the white chocolate that never took off. Never
Yours
took
the
off.
hair.
Someone said cappuccino.
Sam,
Cappuccino.
Sam, and it's living on an old MacBook in his room right now. But his one and only single, rap single that
it
he
was
recorded.
actually an EP.
You were rapping.
No, aspiring.
No way.
I thought for the longest time I was going to be a rapper.
No way.
But I really want to play it on
The problem
podcast.
was the lack of talent.
Yes, I know. I confronted that too when it came to rapping.
Yes, yeah.
It's just that like crushing defeat.
I know.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you think you've got something. And I was like, wow, that was amazing. And you're like, that's actually just a Kanye West song.
Bad. No, it's like very, very bad.
You forgot that that's actually a song, Sam. So yeah, what we also like to do is take impromptu, unsponsored breaks. So
okay.
right after this,
Yes.
we'll be right back.
And we're back.
Okay.
Back with the weird dancing transitions. But anyways, so I've heard a rumor, right?
heard it, yes.
That you were a resident DJ at a few places.
Yes,
What do you have to say to that?
I mean, I resident DJ in your uncle's backyard a couple times at my aunt's place.
Keep my dad out of this.
No, I was never.
Keep my dad out your fucking mouth.
I was always. I would have loved to have been a resident DJ.
Yeah.
And I had friends that were DJs.
Yeah.
And often I would try and DJ while they were residenting, and they would let me play a couple songs, and then after a couple of songs, I would be told to stop playing the songs and to leave.
I actually got a video submission from one of your many fans, and it's just you screaming, "I'm the king of Melville," and then
No way.
yeah. Those are in the darker times. No, you can't see it. Maybe because it doesn't exist. But the fact that you thought it could exist is problematic.
Highly. Can I just tell you?
you were like, oh, for reals?
I was like, boom. You found me out.
You found me.
No. I mean, there were many nights in Melville where I probably
would have said that.
Probably said it a couple of times.
Would you say at certain occasions in your life you got a bit too close to the fire?
I would say I melted my fucking wings. Yeah, I would say I returned to earth a roast chicken, completely destroyed. Yeah, for sure.
And after self-therapy,
you know, all sorts. No, I definitely, I spent, I singed a few nerve endings.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, sticking with the roast chicken image, when last did you have a rotisserie chicken from Woolworths? Ooh. My word, aren't they delicious?
Wow. Is this a sponsor? What?
What is this line of questioning?
God, if I did have a sponsored rotisserie chicken a week, that would save a lot of money.
No, I have not had I have not had a rotisserie chicken from Woolworths in many years, but I trust your taste to say that they're probably really good.
No, they are.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
Chloe, would you
Sam?
support that?
Yeah. Sam has to fight away like lots of Constantia moms in the line.
Oh, really?
Everybody loves the rotisserie
those chickens
chicken.
disappear.
They disappear. You got to be
You
there in a
got to get
certain
there
time. I'm always with a similar group of competition. But given that I'm usually 40 years younger than most and have no manners,
yes,
I get that chicken.
You can just kind of climb in there, just grab it by
That's
the
what I
legs.
like about being in town. When I was in the suburbs, everyone kind of knows you. Hi, Pam. Hi, the town. You're like an animal.
It's great. Yeah, it's great. But what about air fryers? You can use an air fryer. You can roast your own. Roasting a chicken's very easy.
It's not the same.
It's not the same?
It's not the same.
Because of the turny bit.
Yeah, and it's because it's from Woolworths, obviously.
Yeah.
You know?
I find myself in the relentless pursuit of a good rotisserie chicken.
I know. I mean, there's nothing quite like chicken.
No, exactly that.
I've been in the South for the last few months, and there they have great fried chicken.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
like buttermilk chicken, like just it's so good. It's
in
so
America,
good.
of course.
Yeah, in America,
Yeah.
and it's just, I mean, it's that you don't quite get the flavor here or anywhere else that I've encountered in the South.
Okay, bit of a personal question coming up here. So you are obviously a very successful, you can and art that as you will. You were a successful filmmaker, big into commercials. What made you think, I'm now going to go to America?
sheer
and
arrogance.
run in that crowd. Yeah.
Oh, just pure arrogance and naivety.
Okay.
And thinking that I needed something better, maybe, or that I even deserve something better.
How internalized is that as South Africans, that we always think like overseas is better?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so not. It just it took a couple of years for the kind of rose-tinted shades to come off, and then to realize that actually it's a giant kind of like mirage that's peddled by the media to kind of tell you about, to kind of like impose these aspirations on you. And it's sad for a lot of like we say sideline cultures, that you have to like view your own value through the eyes of somebody else, sort of somebody else is telling you how to be yourself. It's a very weird thing, and South Africans really do have that. But once you're there for a while, then you kind of get into the rhythm, and you realize that most of it's bullshit, and that's actually really liberating.
Yes.
When you realize that actually there isn't this wise group of sacredly talented sages that are there kind of like winding the cultural clocks. It's actually just a bunch of fucking con artists. And that's really cool to see, because then you kind of take a load off, and then you realize that, and it's not all a con. There's a lot of like beautiful, sensitive, aspirant people there. There's also a lot of narcissists and bullshitters. And in a way, people just get on with it. And then by the time you realize that, or I realize that I'm kind of in the rhythm of being there, I'm doing stuff. But the biggest thing is COVID. I was always coming back every few months. So I was like there for 3 months, here for 3 months, and or 6 months, 4 months, or whatever. And then COVID hit. And then I was stuck in LA for two years. Yeah. That was pretty tough.
Very interesting. Wow. And I like that word you used, the aspiration. Chloe, what is the difference between aspiration and aspirin?
It's like, I was going to say, and dispirin and aspirin.
Okay. And there's your next one.
Yeah.
So approach us as you will in any order.
I don't know, fizzle out?
Fizzle out. Yeah, that's effervescent.
Yeah.
Effervescence.
Chloe also has quite infatuation with the States, but hers is also very whimsical and beautiful, like you said, as it is. They're sensitive people.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing about America, Chloe?
America. I think the national parks, like 100%, they're so beautiful.
Yeah.
I found when I was in the States, like the advertising and just like how commercialized and sort of like over the top everything is, was quite a lot to take in.
Definitely.
But then the national parks were such a like wonderful, but even parts of the national park. So, the national parks are beautiful. Yeah, advertising is a bombardment there, and it's so woven into every aspect of life. Also Americans are huge, hey? They're massive people, like literally.
Hefty
quite
individuals,
hefty, like literally, especially in the South. But I feel for a lot of
Chunky
Americans.
things.
I feel like they sold the raw deal. Like a lot of Americans struggle. There's a real like atrophying middle class. You've got like a lot of everything's expensive. Healthcare is ridiculous. So you've got a lot of people that are paying top dollar for very poor service. And where you really see it is the food. Like you see, sometimes, barring like, roast chicken. What's it, fried chicken or something? Like if you want to like eat really healthily, eat clean, it's very expensive.
There's no rotisserie chicken from Woolies.
No Woolies chicken. But yeah, I feel like Americans struggle. They struggle, and a lot of people there have to work, and they're so bought into this idea of bootstrap culture that the more people struggle, the more they believe they got to work, and the more you struggle, more work. And it's actually just the system has been slowly leveraged against them. And they're all at this point where there's no amount of work that's ultimately going to get them to sustain themselves. And so you start to see this slow crumbling at the edges. And in a way, it's a kind of reckoning that's going to need to happen in America, where you kind of... there's a small group of people that literally run the world. Yeah. And... I don't know, man. It's really, it's kind of fucked up, but I don't really know how to interpret it.
But I think you've done pretty well at interpreting it. What you also did say, and it's one of my favorites. It fascinates me, and you mentioned them earlier. Con men.
Yes.
Because con men are confidence men. That's where the whole sort of thing. And that for me is like the most American trait. And whereas South Africans, I feel like we are so like pathetic at it. And of course there's a balance, but you can have something really good as South African, and you're like, you're a genius, and you like probably like Elon, you like the real South African version of Elon Musk. You're like, build a rocket and maybe it'll go. And then this American, I've built this thing. It's gonna fucking blow people's minds.
It's true.
And we need to get a bit better there. Like people ask me, what's the podcast like? I'm like, it's a train wreck. Don't listen to it. They're like, I spend the rest of my life doing it. I'm like, what's going on here, Sam?
Very true. They're great pitchmen. That LA is just full of pitchmen.
Yeah.
Like everybody's pitching. It's difficult. You want to have a connection with somebody. So you find like you go to a party or something, and then people are like, hey man, like who are you? And that's actually code. It's actually code for like, now you've got to give me your pitch.
It's
of,
me,
like, your
Academy Award winning
and all
director.
this bullshit. Yeah, and actually you just go like, hey, I'm just Tristan. I'm like hanging out. And like, so what are you doing? It's like, I don't know, just standing. And it's like people don't know how to deal with that.
Yes.
What the expectation there, I think, is that you really, it's like, that you're selling all the time. And it's so part of American culture to sell, to put a positive face and everything. And in weird ways, it does make it more difficult to connect with people, honestly.
Yeah, sorry, Chloe, it was going to leave me. The dolce vita in Italian, the sweet art of doing nothing. Obviously not perfectly translated.
I think it's called flaneuring in French.
Okay.
It's an art. It's called flaneuring.
Chloe in German? Sorry, Chloe. So I had to get that just golden nuggets.
No, I was going to say, do you think a lot of it is people just sort of like, that sort of like fake it till you make it?
Yeah.
But I think not everyone does make it.
No, and not everybody can. There's a lot of that. There's a real resilience in self-belief and there's a real belief. There's a lot of people I've met who call themselves filmmakers in a way, and they truly believe it because they like shot a 2-minute film on their phone with their friends. And I'm not going to be the one to say you're not. But I mean, I do sometimes feel like, in the realm of like filmmaking, you're probably not there yet. And I just think like I wouldn't call myself, I still struggle with the idea of filmmaker because I make so many commercials now. I still I shot a movie a while ago. It was borderline tragic, but I still struggle with that term, filmmaker.
Well, I also think it's interesting because I think the orgasm helps us here because you can't necessarily fake an orgasm until you make it.
You could.
No, I think it probably just leads to long-term
it depends if you get turned on by deception. Because then you're because that can really get you going, actually.
Okay, where's his... I thought you had a publicist at this stage of your career.
You could totally... That could be such a... could be a weird turn. That'd be a weird kick. You've to lie to yourself. It gets you off.
I'm about to come.
I
can't.
I can see it happening. I
can't control myself. But you just spoke. Let's bring it back. Come on. You just spoke about commercials, right? Yes. And I just spoke to a handful of your after classmates. The originals like what's his name? You've done a lot of work with him subsequently. I'm
not going to say the name because I'm trying to check if it's real or not. So you actually asked them.
Okay, he's fairly intelligent, this guest. But then what kept popping out when I mentioned...
Was that like a cold reading thing you tried there? I'm hearing a name. Filmmaker, shot a couple of jobs with you.
Maybe a Ben, John.
John,
I'm sensing an Adam. I'm
a Krugersdorp gypsy. One of 9, I have magical powers. Anyway.
That was a very interesting place you just went to.
I know.
Nobody asked you to go there. You went there all by yourself.
That,
I wasn't thinking.
I often resonate with Cillian Murphy from Peaky Blinders and his gypsy history and my history from Hipsy Whipsy. Hey, come on, put a little extra in your Sterry Stumpy, get that extra kick. But anyway, when I spoke to your schoolmates,
yes,
Adam and co,
yes,
one thing that kept coming up when I said, "How's Tristan? What's Tristan?" They shook their heads and they all muttered under their breath, "Sellout."
Sellout.
Does that hurt to hear that?
That can't be true.
Okay. Well, the good news is it isn't.
Okay, good.
I was a more tongue-in-cheek question.
Yeah.
Do you feel now, I mean, Earl has been here for an hour and hasn't switched his phone to silent.
It's amazing.
There will be severe repercussions afterwards.
I'm sensing the punishment coming on.
The
But I
ghost
can
of
see-
Dick will
I
come
think-
back to
I think the look of shame is punishment enough.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Shame.
Don't worry, no more live audiences thanks to Earl.
Yeah. Thanks, Earl. Thanks.
So yeah, email him at earl@after.
It's coming. It's coming.
My cheeks hurt from smiling so much. They're cramping.
To be honest, I don't even know where I was in that. Here, I'm back.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Sell
you
out,
remember.
yeah.
Yes, I do remember.
Selling out.
You know, in terms of, you know, everyone has this like artistic vision and stuff. And you said you made that film and you're on the fence about it. But you ever feel torn about like making commercials versus, you know, just going out there and shooting your feature films and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, you know, it really got me, it really had me in its grips until I made the film, because I had all these fantasies around the process of what that film would be and that it would be my true expression. And, you know, the truth of the matter is I walked in, I slipped, tripped, fell, collapsed, completely came undone within days. And so I realized, firstly, it was tremendously traumatic and tragic to have that reckoning with yourself.
Yes.
And then on the other side of that reckoning, what you get is this realization of, everything that all the values I was holding those aspirations to were false and essentially fantasy. And then you kind of go like, okay, well, this is where I am now. Now I have a much better relationship with what I do, because it is all about process. Hey? I feel like I have genuine joy in being needed and being a part of a thinking machine, and working with talented people and literally building something out of nothing. Because that's, you know, I mean, and solving problems, working with actors, and grabbing magical moments. And if they're in service of some like horrible medical company or, you know, some petroleum company, I mean, whatever. I've kind of made my peace with that. I think I would love to make another movie again. I think if I did it, it would be with a lot like clearer headspace.
It's actually the medical company phoning. You can't say that.
I think it would be like a lot. I would be a lot more level-headed going in. But yeah, I think you know, weirdly, it's the craft I enjoy.
Okay.
And it's not the outcome so much. I become much less attached to what it's for and much more interested in how, like what it is to make it. And
you said something very profound about what your fiance is very good at, and a doing has been, or something along the lines. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, yeah. All the best things, like you kind of just, I was talking absolute
you mean
waffle last night.
The kind of fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, no, but like, you know, that sort of stoic, like existing or being and continuing, that is existence, that sort of stuff. But no, we're not getting into stoicism now. The stoics.
No.
Chloe always wants to talk about LOVE.
Oh, okay.
That's love for you illiterates.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
is it if you can't? Yeah.
LOVE.
Yes. Did I put an E on it? Love.
E. Love.
Love you.
It's love.
Love.
It's
Hello,
love.
my book.
Love.
It's love.
Hello, my special person. Hello, baby cakes. No, too long, and it's too hard to get there.
Just type into
What did
YouTube
you want
Hello
to
my
sp-
books.
What did you want to speak about Tristan's love
I
life?
wanted to speak about what is the meaning of love.
Oh,
No,
interesting.
Chloe, bad.
That's so
You know?
interesting.
You know?
Yeah. I think there's
You know,
there's
deep
different
down.
registers of love. I do. I think there's different ways. And I don't mean like platonic and romantic. I mean like there's this sort of feeling of love, that kind of giddy sensation, that attractive force, and that like attracts you to a person, but it's ultimately unsustainable and temporary. And I think that's just the kind of emotion of it. And then there's the sustaining kind of love, which I think is like a partnership. And that's more like team matching, cooperation, and that sort of tolerance and allowing the other person to be who they are, and that capacity to coexist simultaneously as separate individuals and sort of have this kind of unified like front that you can face life's challenges with. That's probably like the real love that you would reflect on if you look back in your life, you know, as the thing that would have the most impact on it. It depends though, because sometimes people do very stupid shit, or like you know, you meet somebody.
I've never liked that though. Like, I
Look
was
at
in love.
Romeo and Juliet.
I mean, I've done some weird stuff because of that feeling, you know.
But I don't know if that's
I
love.
once woke up in London. It's like on another continent.
What do you mean? Do you know how you got there? Or?
Kind of. I met
That's
this
drugs,
woman.
Tristan.
We
That's
like
not love.
drugs.
Yeah, well, I met this woman and I don't know, we kind of hit it off, and then she...
In South Africa?
Yeah, in Cape Town,
in Cape
actually.
Town.
And then
Okay.
she
Cape
said,
Town
do you
to
want to
London,
come
yeah.
to London? And I meant she meant abstractly, we'll go to London some point. And then she's like, cool, let's go. And then I was like, when? She's like, now. And then we literally just went to the airport. Right there.
That sounds...
And then,
That
and then
sounds
my
so
mom,
fun,
my
yeah.
mom, who's quite neurotic, she's like, "Did you make it home okay?" Usually, she's phoning, going like, "Listen, just checking you parked your car and you're fine." She asked me, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm in London," and she fucking stressed. It's very stressful for her.
Jeez.
I ended up staying there a couple of months and then came back. And that's the thing. It's
That's a great
upend
story.
your life.
Yeah.
No, you can upend your life in very strange ways for the feeling. So it's not harmless, and it's a very beautiful thing. But ultimately, I know in my life that if I reflect on that feeling and where it's taken me, it's often been quite strange, beautifully strange, but not sustainable.
No.
Now it's all about, I think, partnership and cooperation and the quietness of life, and that sort of like that sort of functional tolerant companionship.
I love that.
It is not. No, it's good. And what I liked about hearing about your fiance is that you have a genuine sort of nice love story in terms of where you met, because everyone says, "Oh, tell us how you met, tell us." And then the person like, I was at a party, and then the one friend is friends with the other friend. Yeah. And they know each other. And the funniest thing happened. It was so crazy. They introduced me, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that was insufferable.
That was a tough one.
Hope you guys are going to get together.
Yeah.
Or like now it's like, blah, blah, blah. But you have a genuine love story.
Do I?
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I was dancing. It was actually, I think it was my first night out in LA.
Already.
I know. I dance like an ironing board. Seriously. It's like I have one hinge. It's my lower back. It just hinges like this. I was doing this in the corner. And then my fiance is a really good dancer.
Oh, wow.
And she was with her friend who's also a dancer. And so they were both dancing, very cute. And then I walked across and I actually said, knowing my skills aren't the best.
Yes.
But I said, would you like to dance?
Fake it till you make it.
I might have said, would you like a drink? I don't know. But I said something like that.
When did we as men get taught that was the move? The drink move?
It worked.
I mean, the dancing is cool and that's all yours.
Worked.
I'm asking about the drink thing because I've often felt like a
code.
fool. Would you like a
it's
drink?
Code. It's
That's
code.
true.
The words don't mean anything. They're arbitrary,
What is life?
It could be like, have you got your handbag? I mean, maybe not that.
You want to check the etchings in my bedroom?
Have a look at the ceiling. I mean, the words don't matter. It's the suggestion.
I prefer to be the one looking at the ceiling.
Yes. Oh, you're a bottom. Oh, you're a bottom, not a top.
I thought, do the heterosexual relationships extend to that language?
I think there's a bottom toppy. Yeah, that's possible.
I'm not either of those. I'm just fundamentally
sex
lazy.
is a very malleable thing.
It
can be interpreted in many ways.
Okay, but you were telling us your beautiful love story.
Yes.
And then
yes, and we got like waylaid with Sam the bottom.
You got waylaid by
Sam
me.
the bottom looking up at the ceiling. No, and then
really needs a touch of paint.
And then she basically said, "Yeah, cool." We danced a little bit, then went and had a drink, and then she took me to an after hours, which is like basically like a dark, drug-infused, mad party. I mean, I don't really drink, but I mean, it was like amazing to see that late night LA scene. Okay. And then we kind of partied in that, hung out in that till morning, basically. Yeah. Wow. And then I went back to her place, and then we kind of became sort of weirdly inseparable since then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chloe and I have a similar thing in terms of you meet and you get together, and then it's like, well, why would I actually spend any time away from this person? And not I've been in other relationships where it's just like you're blinded by passion and jealousy and all those like first loves burning, and those are also great.
They are.
But it's also nice when you meet someone like, why? I mean, why would I not do this day if I could?
It's true. Well, love and desire, we confuse them.
Yes.
Much like psychopaths, they confuse love for sex.
Yes.
Oh.
I think it's like a common thing. Yeah, they basically think that love is sex. So the gratification of sex, they often misappropriate because they don't have the empathy to genuinely feel love, that sex becomes the proxy.
Wow.
And so why are we talking about this?
Honestly,
I'm getting kind of horny.
Just keep lying to yourself. funny. You'll be good.
We have to wrap up the show because we're running out of time.
Yes.
Tristan's got to catch a plane to win another Students' Award at 40. It's very exciting.
And then he's off to London.
It's all very exciting, but we always play overrated, underrated. Are you familiar with the concept?
No.
Okay, so let me explain it my way and then Chloe can do hers. Basically, for me, overrated means lame, underrated means cool. Chloe?
Okay.
Okay, no, that's fair. Let's play it like that.
Cool.
Okay.
So we are going to give you a figure, a person, a feeling, and you're going to say overrated or underrated, and you're allowed a sentence to justify your statement.
Okay, one sentence.
Yes. Okay. So you say, I'll say Chloe, I'll say she's underrated, 10 out of 10.
Oh,
but
okay.
like that,
Get it.
That wasn't a great one.
That was not.
She's a solid 8.
10 out, ooh.
No,
Beautiful.
punching up for a 7. Come on. Anyway, okay, Tristan.
Yes.
So is Kim Jong-un overrated or underrated?
Whoa. It depends. Underrated in terms of the humor that he's able to provide the world.
Perfect. I like that. Tristan, is suffering overrated or underrated?
Underrated. Suffering is the molder of human beings, you know. Everything else is just the cushioning that prevents us from the change necessary to be ourselves.
And you heard it here first.
Yeah.
You know, is selling out overrated or underrated?
Well, underrated. Because if you don't sell out, then you're not going to be confronted with the void that you were filling with all those aspirations.
True.
The best thing you can do to come undone is to give somebody everything they wish for.
Okay. I was going to say something witty and then
I now
couldn't think
understand how
after
you
that.
were a therapist to yourself, honestly.
Yeah, all the time.
I completely
Face the
understand
void.
Yeah. No, but I also find like it's the talentless who are like, he's a sellout. Listen to this indie band. Who cares if Coldplay are famous?
Yes.
Anyway.
Trevor Noah has made it.
Now this is we're going to take it back a bit. Tristan, is chess overrated or underrated?
It's hard for me to answer that because I don't feel like I have an appreciation. I don't think I know. I've never won a game really, like not honestly. So I don't really know.
You've never. Okay, I like how you dropped an honestly.
No, because
gone to the toilet.
No, because I think
James?
Grandpa was the only person I think I really beat was just letting me win.
Okay.
You know. So I think chess is probably, from my point of view, underrated, just because I have yet to discover its secrets.
Underrated and not so understood.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Vaguely comprehended.
Vaguely comprehended. There's lots of suffering, selling out, and Kim Jong-un in chess, which is interesting, but more on that later.
Yes.
Finally for you, Tristan, is moving to LA, because I mean the half of Cape Town is pretty set on it. Is moving to LA underrated or overrated?
It's tricky. Underrated, not for the promise of what it provides, but for the forced recognition with who you really are. And then I met Mel there. Yes. You know, I met my partner there. So I mean, that's the weird thing. Is it a cultural desert full of empty, narcissistic people there like fireflies for a dream that no longer exists? In a way, yes. But are there beautiful, talented people who've also found their way there out of a genuine need to be and change the world? Yes, too. Beautiful. So it's a very contradictory place.
And I mean, as Al City once said, would you not believe your eyes? If Winyeli had Chloe?
I was going to say they're not going to let you back in.
Come down to earth.
Would you not believe your eyes? And that's not how it goes.
That was more of a jazzy spin on it.
Okay.
No, but I think that was the most wholesome, overrated, underrated we ever had.
Seriously.
Chloe, we got to get out of here. The studio manager's on our case.
Yeah.
Any parting shots from you?
Just thank you so much for joining us. This has been like a really last minute.
It was so last minute, and I really appreciate it.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. No, thank you, Tristan, so much. I can honestly say this is probably the most time I've spent with you ever. Yeah. And it was good quality time as well.
It was quality time.
And we hope you also thought it was quality. Do the usual. I'm not going to make my Jake Paul speeches today. It's great to have 2 podcasts back in the week. We're not committing to that. We'll have the one a week as per usual. But also as per usual, we enjoy the support. Thank you for watching, listening, liking, doing all this stuff. We'll see you next week. Have you followed the show enough to know how we say goodbye?
No one makes it to the end.
No.
I always fall asleep.
So you do the no clicking, more Korean hearts.
Okay.
And you just say bye.
Bye.